Welcome to this video on what can I do if I have too few results. It's all about expanding your search results and it's targeted at students who are working on a literature review. There are different strategies that you can use to broaden your search and increase the number of results that you are working with. So firstly, you could broaden your search terms. You could simplify your key terms. You could change the search fields in which you are searching. You could add in relevant medical subject headings for your topic, and you can try searching different databases as they include different journals, and so the likelihood is you will retrieve different papers by searching 2 or more databases. This is an example research question that I will be demonstrating throughout this video. What are the job-seeking experiences of new graduate physiotherapists from ethnic minority backgrounds? There are 4 key concepts within this question. The first is job-seeking, the second is experiences, the third is the population group, new graduate physiotherapists, and fourth, I suppose, is the context, the ethnic minority backgrounds. This is a concept-based approach to searching. You might be using a Pico or a Spider type search framework to conduct your search. The principles are the same. Once you have identified the concepts in the question, you list synonyms to structure your search. The synonyms for my search, then listed into an appropriate search structure, will look something like this. Each of the terms that mean roughly the same are combined with or, and then different terms, different concepts are combined with and.
Paste the first line of your search into CINAHL or the database you are using, and then run each search line so that it appears under your search history. I now have 4 lines of search, and I combine them together by selecting the box on the left hand side and then choosing the search with and option. You'll see it says no results were found. So although I have planned a sensible search strategy, it needs some revisions in order to be able to retrieve relevant results.
Sometimes you need to simplify your search terms or the key terms that you are using in order to retrieve relevant results. The example search that I'm using, the first line, is quite specific. It's using phrases job seeking, finding employment. A simpler way of approaching this, if you're not generating papers, is to pare back the language and simplify the terms. So rather than specify job seeking, just search job. This will find the terms job seeker, job seeking, job seekers, finding a job. All of those will be retrieved by the simple term job. And then staying with employment, search for employ with the asterisk symbol, so you're using the truncation mark, you'll find employee, employer, employment. And then perhaps adding in an additional term that's relevant to the topic. So if you're seeking employment, you're likely to be going through the recruitment process. So adding in the term recruitment, but using the asterisk symbol, so you get recruit, recruiter, or recruitment. And all of these sort of simplifications on the search line will generate more results because the truncation marks will be finding different variations of word endings, and something as simple as job will find any search line where the researchers have specified someone seeking a job in different ways. In the example search, I used quite concise phrases, so new graduate physiotherapist, newly qualified physiotherapist, relevant terminology, but the way I structured it meant that the researcher had to have written these terms exactly as I had specified. So rather than taking that approach, if you're not getting any results, it is better to take a broader approach to it. So first of all, identify terms that mean physiotherapy or physiotherapists and group them as a set within brackets. So you'll see here I've got physio, I've got physical therapy with the truncation mark, and then broader terms, allied health or AHP. So this will give me a greater set of results to work with. And then combine those terms with the terms that mean newly graduated or recent graduate. Or maybe go broader still and also include students and trainees in case they are also experiencing entering the labour market. So again, list those terms and then just consider that if you are using truncation, make sure it's a minimum of 4 characters. So I can't truncate the word new to retrieve newly as well. I have to specify them separately because you cannot truncate for 3 letters. It's too small a number to work with. So by separating the search line into 2 parts, we'll find anything that says physios and graduate of physio and pre-registration, or allied health and new allied health professionals, for example. So this will give a broader set of results to work with. Once you have revised each search line to expand, broaden or simplify some of the terms or add in additional terms, you'll see I've added in attitude or narrative into the experiences search line just so that it's increasing the likelihood of more papers just by using an expansion of terminology. And you'll see in the final line I added in some additional terms around some of their experiences. For example, perhaps they experience racial bias in the recruitment process, so I'm specifying that in the search, and I now need to rerun it and see if I have retrieved more results than the first time.
I've started to edit the lines of the search that I had previously run by choosing the edit button and then swapping out the text that I have here for the revised text with truncation and speech marks and so on. You'll notice in the first round of searching, this line about physiotherapists only retrieved 33 results. So now I'm going to edit that line for the revisions that I've made. Click Save, and the search will rerun, and you'd expect the number of results to go up. And you'll see where I only had 33 results to work with before, I now have 134,000. So the changes that I've made have dramatically increased the number of results that I can work with. And you'll see I now have results, 43, and I've yet to revise line 4. Now I have made the changes to line 4, I have a lot more results to work with, 149 overall. I can now edit the limits to be more selective about date range, for example. I could select the last 10 years. I can also specify peer-reviewed and English language. You'll see now I have added the limits, year, peer-reviewed English. I have 83 results. And here the first paper, Spotlight on Equality of Employment Opportunities, a study of job-seeking experiences of graduating nurses and physios from Black and ethnic minority backgrounds. So you can see that I am now retrieving relevant results, and at this point I would start to screen those 83 papers for relevance.
One option you can try when you're conducting your search is if you've specified title and abstract when you're searching, or just title for example, you can remove that search field and search more broadly. So when I conducted my search in CINAHL, I didn't specify a field to search in. When you do that, it automatically will search multiple fields. It will search title, abstract, and any author assigned keyword. So that's a keyword that the author suggested when they submitted the paper for peer review, and it will also search any subject term that happens to be tagged on that particular paper. So if you're not getting many results and you search title and abstract, you might change to the default option and search more broadly. This approach can also be really useful if you've got far too many results to search through. You can reduce the number of search fields that you are searching. Subject headings are another method that you can use to increase your number of search results. Within databases, many use what is known as a thesaurus, also called a controlled vocabulary. A thesaurus is essentially a list of terms that are organised in a hierarchy, and these terms are known as subject headings. There is a thesaurus in CINAHL, there's one in Medline, and there's also one in PubMed. Scopus doesn't have a thesaurus, but you can still search subject headings. You just need to use the keywords field.
In CINAHL, subject headings can be searched in the search box. You just need to enter a relevant term. For example, and rather than immediately search for your phrase, you tick the Suggest Subject Terms box, then click Search, and it opens the thesaurus. Here it says Qualitative Research, use qualitative studies. So you can select your subject heading, and then it automatically defaults to all of the subheadings underneath it. So I usually leave that ticked, especially in the beginning, and then click Search Database. This will then search for the medical subject heading. You'll see that there are 83,000 results with that medical heading. If you want to add it into your existing search terms, you need to find the search line that you would like it to be on, click Edit, and then type in OR, and then copy over what was in the search bar when the medical heading was produced. So you'll see it has this MH, which tells the database what field it is, and then the term, so qualitative studies. And you can then do that for each of the concepts in your search. You can add in multiple subject headings for a topic. So you'll see here I've added in the medical heading for job interviews, but also personnel recruitment. You'll see in the second search I've added in qualitative studies, and I've added this plus symbol, which tells the database to search any narrower term underneath qualitative studies. So that will be different types. For example, a narrative inquiry will be included there. And then you'll see I've also added in an analysis type that's common within qualitative research, thematic analysis, but also then a broader term, which is life experiences, to pick up that experiences element of the research question. You can keep adding relevant subject headings in for your topic. Where you start to get quite a few, it can be helpful just to keep your sort of self-aware of what you're doing, to keep your free text terms on one line and then the medical headings on another line. And then if you want to do that, you can combine those two lines and say S4 or S5 by using the Search with OR button. So now it's a case of combining the searches together again. So this time it would be S1, S2 and S3. And then because you've combined S4 and S5 together, you don't select those ones, you select where they're combined, which is line 6, and then click Search with AND. So you'll see now that I have 179 results, in which case I now need to apply those filters again for date, peer-reviewed and English language again. You'll see now that I have applied the limits. I have 98 papers to search through and consider if they are relevant for screening. Subject headings are different in different databases, so you will need to check the thesaurus for the specific database that you are using. And there are videos on using the subject headings within the YouTube playlist.
If you're not getting many results from one particular database, then it's good practice to search another or maybe a couple of other databases. So CINAHL is great for nursing and allied health literature, Medline is more broad, it's a general medical database. It will include relevant nursing papers, but it will also include more broad materials. CINAHL and Medline are searched the same way, they're on the same EBSCO interface, so if you can search CINAHL, you can search Medline. Scopus is a multidisciplinary database, and I'll show you my search in that in a moment. And Social Care Online is provided by the Social Care Institute of Excellence, and it's really useful for community-related topics.
Scopus, as I mentioned, is a multidisciplinary database, so it does have vast range of subject areas. So that can increase the number of results that you get, but it may need some adjustments to the search. You're always searching in the Documents tab, and this option defaults to title, abstract and keyword. Keep and as the drop-down menu here, and then you're pasting in your search terms, but without the subject headings. Remember, Scopus doesn't have a thesaurus, so it's keywords that will search any subject heading from a different database that happens to be listed here. Specify your date range and then select search to run your search. Occasionally it will come up with that strange message. It just wants you to click again for some reason. Click search and it will run the search. You'll see that I have 188 documents from within the time frame specified. You'll see it's actually given me an extra year there. That's a default that's happening in Scopus. If you want to narrow it down further, you can select by year here if you wish to. Obviously 188 is quite a lot, so you might decide you need to revise the search in some way. So you can go back to the search option, and perhaps you can change the drop-down menu to title only for the most important term within your search. So for example, it might be that you decide to change the job terms to be searched in title only, and this will narrow the results quite a lot. It's doing the strange message again because there's a space there. Click search. And now it's given me just 10 documents. Obviously, it's finding the right balance. That might not be quite the right approach, but it just gives you an idea about how you can adjust your search should you need to.
One final suggestion for expanding your search results: once you've run your searches and you've identified relevant papers, you can use some citation chaining techniques to see if they can help you link or connect to other relevant papers. So for example, you can paste the title of a relevant paper into Google Scholar, look at the cited by button, and it will bring up any paper that has already cited that paper that you found. So that way you can look at the forward citation chaining and see if there's any relevant papers that way. You can use the feature for similar articles, for example, within PubMed. You can paste in again a title of a relevant paper and look at what it suggests as similar articles, so you might find a different one that way. You can also do backward citation chaining by looking at the bibliographies that are in the papers that you found that are relevant and see if that gives you any other papers that you can connect to. We've now come to the end of the video on searching and what happens if you have too few results. I hope that you find some of these techniques useful, and just a reminder that the Library Skill Up module is there for you to work through self-directed materials to improve your searching skills.